Hi, and welcome to the first live session for the conference. I'm Marianne Clements. As you probably know by now, I'm the person who initiated this conference, and I just wanted to open today by just sharing something briefly about why we're sharing live practices as part of the conference. But before I do that, I'm just going to check that my tech is working, and that you can hear me. Madeline, if you're there, can you let me know in a message whether I'm good? I hope I am. So, let me start speaking, and then I'm going to assume I'm good. I've got a message there. Yes. Great. Okay, cool. I'm here. I wanted to share something about why we're sharing live practices as part of the conference and what they're for, basically. So, the idea of a practice is something that you can use to support you in your life and in your work, and it's something that you come back to again and again. That's why it's called a practice, as in you practice doing it. You might do it today, you might do it every day, you might do it once a week, but it's something that you make a practice out of. And so what we're doing as part of the conference is we're sharing 8 practices with you during the week in live sessions in the Facebook group. We don't expect you to make all of them something you do regularly. They're options and ideas for you to try out. Some of them are with me, and then there are a number with other people as well during the week. And so these are ideas for you, things that you can experiment with this week. And they'll stay live in the they stay as recordings, in the Facebook group as well. So you'll be able to watch again later, to come back to this. And also a note about accessibility. Whilst all the main talks this week have closed captions, we're not able to provide that using the tech that I'm using right now for these live sessions. But we will be making transcripts of these live sessions, which will be available next week with the recordings of the conference. So if you have questions about that, do get in touch with me and ask. And also I will be sharing more about how that works during the week with you. So today the practice that I want to share relates to Jennifer Lempfer's talk, which is also part of the conference today. And if you've listened to that talk already, you'll know that Jennifer speaks about the importance of bringing our hearts to our work. And so in this first practice, I wanted to offer you a simple practice that will support you in doing that. I just want to say a little bit more about what I hear Jennifer saying in the talk around that. So when she says bringing our hearts, she's talking initially about the passion that brought you to this type of work, brought her to this type of work, but all of us perhaps to this type of work. And for me, I wanted to sort of point out that that's really, that passion is about feelings, and she speaks to this in her talk as well, about not pushing our feelings aside, but bringing them with us to enrich our work. And I think that's something that we often lose, and that's something else Jennifer speaks to in her talk in the day-to-day of our work. But it's something I believe we can always access. And so this practice is 2 parts, really, very simple things to help you to do that. The first part is actually just an invitation to check in with yourself about how you are feeling in the moment. And the second part uses some writing, some journaling to explore that a bit more. So if you want to do this with me now, you just need a piece of paper. It could be scrap paper, it might be a journal or a book that's on your desk, wherever you are. It doesn't need to be anything special, and you're not ever going to have to show it to anyone what you write on it. So a piece of paper and a pen, and that's all you need. You can do this sitting at your desk, you can do it wherever you are. So if you wherever you are right now, though, I invite you to just get comfy. If you're sitting at your desk, you might not want to close your eyes, but for the purposes of demonstrating, I'm going to do it because I think that can just help you to get in touch with how you're feeling. So, you know, choose for yourself what the right thing for you to do in the moment if you're practicing with me. So get comfortable wherever you are, and then I just invite you to bring your attention to your breath. It's not about changing your breath, it's just about noticing it. So your breath coming in and out of your body. And just notice anywhere in your body that maybe doesn't feel so comfortable right now. And if you can, just tweak your body a bit and get a bit more comfortable if you can move that part of you. And if you can't, just allow yourself to breathe into that part of you. Just see if you can invite a bit more comfort in. You can do all this with your eyes open too, right? And no one need know you're doing it. Once you're feeling a bit more comfortable and you've focused on your breath for a few breaths, just ask yourself the question, what am I feeling today in relation to my work? So what are you feeling today in relation to your work? And just let whatever the answer that's at the top of your mind come, yeah. And it might be a mixture of things. It could be some anger, some sadness, some joy, some happiness, some fear. Just let it be what it is. This exercise is not about changing how you're feeling. It's simply about noticing. Like, what am I feeling right now? Am I feeling really annoyed? Am I feeling really excited? Am I feeling really angry? So just let yourself ask that question. What am I feeling right now in relation to my work? And let the answers come. And then we're going to use that answer for the second part of the practice. So the second part of this is to take a piece of paper, rough paper, journal, back of an envelope, whatever you have to hand. Ideally you want a bit of space because we're going to write for a few minutes. And you write at the top of it, what information does now you can use, there are some options here. So you can either use your heart, what information does my heart have for me today? Or you can use the feeling or feelings that you identified just now when we were just accessing feelings. So it could be, what information does my anger have for me today? What information does my sadness have for me today? What information does my joy have for me today? What information does my fear have for me today? You can do one, or you can do, if you were really clear that you were feeling both angry and sad, or both fear and anger, you can use two together as well. And what you can do is, if you make this a practice that you revisit, you can use a different one each time. It doesn't have to repeat the same word. But what information does my heart, or whatever feeling you identified, have for me today? And you write that at the top of the piece of paper, and then we're going to do a free writing exercise with it. So what you do is, you write that at the top, and then you take your pen and you write for 3 minutes. It could be 5 if you have time when you repeat this, but we're going to do it for 3 minutes now, without letting your pen leave the page, yeah? So you just write whatever comes to you naturally, like a stream of consciousness. Some of what comes out might feel silly. It might be like, why am I doing this ridiculous exercise? You can write that. You just let whatever come. It might be, oh, I really need to buy some milk on the way home. Write that. Just write whatever comes. The idea is to write a kind of stream of consciousness and to interrupt the part of your mind that senses you, and particularly might be censoring your feelings and not letting them get involved in your work. So you just let your thoughts flow. Remember that you'll never have to show anyone what you've written. You don't have to tell me, you don't have to tell anyone else in the group. It's just whatever comes, right? And then we're going to do that for 3 minutes. So I'm going to give you 3 minutes now. So it's 11 minutes past 12 on my clock, and it's just turned. So write that at the top right now. What information, choose one to do, what information does my heart or the feeling you identified just now earlier in the practice, so my anger, your sadness, your joy, your fear, whatever it was, have for you today? And start writing. Yeah? So what information, I'm going to do it too, does my heart have for me today? I'm going to tell you when 3 minutes are up. Got about another minute to go if you're writing with me. So just keep writing. Whatever's coming, just let it flow. Okay, that's about 3 minutes now. I didn't have a proper stopwatch, so it might not be the most accurate 3 minutes, but you might be thinking, what's the point of that writing exercise? So the point of this is to help you to get beyond your day-to-day thoughts and kind of get under them a little bit. And part of bringing our hearts, I think, back to our work, if we feel like we're a bit distant from them, is just allowing ourselves to listen to them. And so these two parts of this practice, the first bit that was simply just focusing on your breath and then asking yourself how you're feeling, and then the second part, which was then the writing with what does my heart, or what does that feeling that I identified, what information does that have for me today? By writing with that for 3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes in the morning, perhaps, or at a time of the day that feels useful and good to you. But I usually find doing a practice like this is really helpful in the morning before I start my day. By doing that, you're actually accessing something in yourself that you might be ignoring a lot of the time because maybe you're busy and maybe there's not time to think about how am I feeling because there's all these problems in the world we're trying to solve, right? So the idea of that practice is something that you can come back to if you find it useful, something you could maybe do each morning, or you could decide to do like just on a Monday morning or twice a week on a day when you have a bit of time in your day. It could be at lunchtime, like now if you're in the UK it's roughly lunchtime, I guess. So the idea of that practice is just simply something that you can come back to, and it will help you in time to bring some of these feelings and some of this attention to your passion, your heart, your anger, your sadness, your joy, up to the surface for yourself. And once you build your own awareness of what those things are, you can start altering the practice a little bit maybe and ask myself, well, what information does it have for me today and what do I want to do with it as well? The idea being that if you're engaging with this part of yourself regularly through the practice, then you're able to bring it to your work more effectively. I hope that's useful. I am going to stay in the Facebook group now to answer questions about this. If anybody is right here now thinking I've got a question, I think I can probably see your questions. I'm just going to look over to Facebook, which is on my other screen over here. I'm using some tech and just see whether there are any questions there. But it's also possible for us to do questions and comments as well after this broadcast. So let me just see if there are any questions in. Yeah. Yeah, okay. I can just see you saying you can see and hear me, which is great. So if people are joining now, this I'm going to end the broadcast because I've already been through the practice. But what's going to happen is this is going to become something you can watch in the group. So once I click finish the live broadcast, it's then going to become a recording that you can come back and watch in the group. So I'm going to do that now, and come to the group. I'll be there to answer any questions if you type them to me in the group. Okay, bye.